Hey, Doc.
What's happening, Robert Rostick?
The world.
Well, this is true.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, we're going to try something new today.
Let's try something new.
Yeah.
Everybody, I'm Bevo.
And I'm Robert Rostick.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Raising Unmanageables. Before we go any further, please like, subscribe, share, and support us by your viewing. I don't even know what to say at this point. Just support us. Subscribe.
And if it's stuff that you find interesting or you say it's worthy, then say it. If you find it is crap, please put that in there as well. We welcome trolls at this point.
Yeah.
Because we're nobodies.
Right.
At this point. But later.
Right. I like shit talkers a little bit.
I do. I actually do.
If no one's talking shit a little bit, that means no one's viewing your stuff.
That's exactly right.
So I want people to kind of talk shit a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. And then when we get to the point where we start filtering it out, then we will at that point know that we've made it.
Right.
All right.
Oh, so I'll just stop listening anyway.
Yeah. So either way.
Behind the camera, we got Alex Zadarozny. She is our director of photography, and she's holding down the set right now. We actually just had a dope-ass conversation about just giving her more free reign, more agency over editing these videos, because we know that they can get a little, they're interesting talks, but we're shooting one camera angle. It gets static.
Yeah.
It gets flat. Mm-hmm. And we want to hold interest a little bit.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to give that over to her because she's a young girl. Mm-hmm. They think way differently than we might. And I'm ready to learn from that process. So
and I
Alex,
think we've gotten sort of settled in what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
And every time you sort of get settled, then you know that it's time to move.
Hell yeah.
At that point, it's really time to move.
Right. Plus, again, even from her perspective, I don't want her sitting there watching a 25-minute long video.
Of two old men.
Of two old dudes. And it's just boring. And she's already, so we're torturing her twice because she got to film it. And then she got to go home and edit it. And it's just like, God damn. And then she does these small little clips. And then, so it's like, we're killing her 3 times over. So by the time she gets here, she's like, again. So I want to step it up. Alex, thank you very much for accepting the challenge. And let's just get into this conversation today.
And before we get into that, I always have to put in my shameless plug of if you're needing to learn about photography,
sure,
anything about it digitally, lighting, posing, editing, anything that has to do with digital photography, then take a look at trgstudio.net and check us out.
Absolutely. And if you need a creative coach, if you are stuck in any part of your creative process and you need someone to collaborate with and help you out of that process, holler at me, Brian Volaton, at beachandmain.com, and let's work together. With that being said.
Yeah, now, I was having this thought the other day about wishing that somebody would copy my work.
Right. What did they say about it? Stealing is the biggest form of flattery.
Oh, absolutely. And I wanted to know, when I came in here this morning, how you felt about that. What did you feel about people who copy other people?
I don't care.
Why is that?
Because I think there's a lot of effort that goes into just making a thing in the first place, right? And to pursue someone and to shake them down, to take them into court, to try to get them to stop copying my work after I've already gone through the time to produce it is a waste of my time, I think. I think it takes more time to chase them down and to get them to stop using it than it did for me to actually do it in the first place when I could just sit down and make more work.
Now, a lot of people, especially in the photography industry, they put their work out and they put these big watermarks all over it and they say, this is my style. This is what I do. And if anyone was to try to steal or copy it, then they would be devastated by that.
Yeah,
and
a lot of people are. But I think when people are devastated by someone ripping them off or stealing their work, they're in this place where they don't feel like they've accomplished themselves far enough. I think because when you're further enough along, I don't think it really matters. Like people are going to copy your stuff.
And you know the thing about that part about people copying your stuff, I the first thing I asked them is, how did you learn to do what you're doing?
Right. You sat down and copied somebody else's stuff.
And you got interested in them, and you said, okay, I see that they're doing this. I want to learn how to do that. And you work and work and work in order to learn the process.
Right.
You learn about the artist. You learn about their entire bio. You learn how they think, where they go for coffee. You learn all those things, hoping that some of that will then transform into you and your work. And that's admiration in the way I see it.
Right.
But then we don't see that as a form of copying.
No.
But we're doing it. Now when we then go and produce our work, we see someone else doing that same process, because they said nothing in the on this earth has ever been is new that's being invented.
Nothing under the sun is new.
And it's just been reformed, repackaged.
Right.
So when we get all upset about people copying our work, what is that saying about us? And you just alluded to it. Is that it's saying that we are static?
Right. We have a closed mindset. If I think that I'm the only one that can have this thing, that is a closed mindset. Because there's plenty of patents on different brands. There's plenty of patents on motorcycles, cars, everything. But there's still cars and there's still motorcycles. So it's like, I just won't make my motorcycle sound like your motorcycle, and I will still make a motorcycle. Or I'll add 3 lights to my shots and not 2 lights. You know, so like it doesn't really. I don't think holding on to those types of things actually matter. And I think the people who go out of their way to kind of the sue people, or now I will be careful on this, because I have to be careful, because there's a lot of artists that are already underserved. Right? Not graffiti artists, but muralists, right? For instance. And muralists put a lot of time into their work. And you know, sometimes they're compensated fairly. But then what we do as civilians is we come out and we might see a shot on a wall that we really, really like. And we'll take a photo of that wall, or take a photo of ourselves in front of that wall. And then I may decide to sell that photo because it's a cool shot.
Ooh.
But behind me is a shot of the work from a muralist.
Okay.
And they're not getting paid for that. So I do understand where this conversation is going, but I want to make sure I'm careful with regard to stealing the work or stealing, the process of the work. You know what I mean? Like, if someone creates work that's like my work, I don't think there's anything I can do about that.
No.
If you take my work and sell my work, then I have a problem with that.
And that is the biggest
and those
difference.
Those are two different things.
Two entirely different things.
Right. Because we can all learn how to be photographers. We can all learn how to be illustrators, painters, dancers, whatever. I can learn this dance move. I can learn this dance move. I can learn to paint this way. But if I take your work and steal it, literally, and sell it, that's a whole different thing.
And say it's my own.
Right. So, with that being the case, completely against that.
What we're really talking about is influence then.
Right.
Influence is acceptable. It is a great thing. And I want to be able to influence other people.
Right.
And if I'm not influencing you, that's saying a lot about the work that I'm doing. It's really not that influential,
right,
in a sense. So, yes, influence and stealing, and by defining those two, and not making them one and the same,
right,
is the difference. So I want to back up to that part about when we talk about commerce. An artist who has developed a process goes out, works his butt off in order to make this into a one-of-a-kind kind of deal.
Right.
You should be influenced by that. In fact, that's when we jump on board and notice people and want to be like them. They, there's a thing called what do they call it? Cover bands.
Right.
And they play all of the hits from the people that are already gone on before them, and they try to be as authentic to the artist as possible.
Right.
But they're not selling themselves as the artist.
As the artist, no.
Yeah, and that's where the difference lies.
Right.
And I wrote down some things about when it comes to commerce. There are 3 things that I think that drives creativity when it comes to selling. Selling your work and patenting your work and making sure that that work is recognized by others as yours. And then the influence from that can be, whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So you want to hear them? Or you want to?
Get into it.
Okay.
Get into it.
One of the main reasons why we do what we do,
Mm-hmm.
why we're driven to do what we do,
Because we're bad at math.
yeah,
Terrible at following other people's directions. But I'm afraid you got something else on that paper there.
yeah. One of the reasons why we do it, no matter what it is, we do it because we are fulfilling a need,
Yeah.
something that someone else out there will make their lives easier, better, or what have you. We want to fill that void, and we want to be the first to be able to come up with something that will work directly for that need. So that's number one. That's what drives us. And when it comes to painting, when it comes to photography, we want to make someone else's life a little easier by having them see and enjoy and be influenced by our own work. So we're fulfilling a void there,
Okay.
some sort of void.
Okay.
The second thing that the reason why we do this, number two, I believe in that in my 3-tier deals of why, is because we want to create a legacy for ourselves. We want to be remembered because at some point you realize that you are only here for a finite amount of time.
Right.
And when I say here, I don't mean that you're going to die. I mean, in
Yeah.
whatever industry, you're not going to be able to paint forever. You're not going to be able to make pictures forever.
Right.
You're not going to be able to illustrate forever. Life takes over. Your eyesight goes bad, whatever happens. So you want to create a legacy by doing the best work that you possibly can and being recognized for that work.
Right. I do have an addition to that, though. So there are people who are going to paint forever. There are people who are going to be photographers forever. But I do think the way that they transition, because they're getting older, they may not be able to hold the brush the same way. They may see things different. Their eyesight might be different. They have to transition through that craft a little differently. So they still may attempt to do these things,
Oh, sure.
but they won't be able to do them the same way at the end of their journey as they started their journey.
And I think that's understood. And what I mean by not forever, I mean, what I'm saying is that the audience that we're trying to affect won't be as effective to them forever.
Oh yeah,
That's what I mean. I'm
Yeah.
talking about when we produce work. There is going to be a time when we produce our best work, and that time is not defined because we're young, or middle aged, or old, but we have a sort of a finite time to produce a best work.
Right. So, okay,
Yeah.
I get it what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you're not saying in your youth you're going to produce your best
No,
work,
no,
because
no.
some people will produce their best work when they're
Sure.
60, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So you're saying that, but from that point
Yes.
that they start producing their best work, there's a window of opportunity
That's exactly what I'm saying.
for them to capitalize on.
That's
that.
exactly what
Okay,
I'm saying.
I got
So in that particular time period, you want that work to be you want to be known for that work that you're producing because
Okay.
you're putting in what we call, you and I always call, putting in the time, putting in the energy, putting in the effort. And when you do those things, you expect something back from that, some sort of recognition. And I talk about legacy. But the third thing, and the most important thing, is we have to grow financially. And I know I'm introducing money into this thing, but that's kind of like the ultimate goal.
Right.
And when you say that you're not doing this for the money, you're doing it for the money.
Yeah.
And the money may not be your ultimate driving, but it's certainly your destination.
Yeah. If you're in business, you're doing it for
That's
business
exactly.
for money.
That's exactly. it.
We may have our passions, or we may have hobbies or projects or things that we do even before we get money. But if we decide to live off of that thing, then
Yes.
you're doing it for money.
That's correct.
So I do agree. And I almost just bust out laughing just now because I am listening to you, but I am still remembering that I told Alex to do some crazy editing, and I just like imagine ducks flying through the thing and like zombies flying through the thing and like weird like elevator music, like us on hold. I don't know. It was just some weird shit that just happened in my brain. I almost bust out laughing, but
But you're giving, in our opening statement, we were talking about giving someone free reign.
Yeah.
And then after we say free reign, we kind of want to rein that back in and go like, you have free reign, but you can't do this.
But I kind of want to see it though. I kind of just want to see like what she does with like where there's going to be pauses, if there's going to be pauses. Like, what else is going to happen? Because what is she going to create that's not already here, right? Because right now, again, we got one camera angle. What is she going to create to make it interesting? So I don't know. I hope there's not too much pressure, Alex, but it's just funny to me because in my mind, I'm like, I would just throw random like ducks in here, like squeezy, like bath ducks, and like, where's that zombie come from? I don't know, something. But anyway,
No matter what you do, whether you throw ducks in there or not, it's going to either succeed or fail. No matter what. And there's a 50-50 chance it's going to go either way.
Right.
And, my feelings about 50-50 is that the only percentage that count is the one that you put in,
Right.
and that makes it 51.
Right.
And anytime you're 51, then you're good.
right.
So
You won't fail. I'm going to lower the expectations on this one. But anyway,
But-
you're in business for money.
yeah, you're in business for money. So I talk about creating something. No matter what you create, if people jump on board, there are going to be followers who want to create something exactly like what you're doing
Right.
in order to reap the benefits in a more expedited way.
And to follow up on that, if people are copying you or stealing from you, you have done something great.
Absolutely.
Because no
I
one's
agree
going to
with it.
steal a POS. No one wants it. POS, piece of shit. No one wants that, right? Like, no one wants bad work, bad art, bad products, bad apps. If you do a really great job, people are going to follow it and they're going to steal it and they're going to ask you how you did it so they can do the same thing too.
Sure. And the greatest thing about that is that they can't do it like you do it.
No one can.
Because even though we are human beings, and we all share the same blood, in a sense, we're all connected in some sort of way. We are each individuals. I mean, unique individuals when it comes to what we do. What we do with our hands, what we do with our brains, what we do with our mouth, what we do with our eyes, what we do.
Right.
And
It's that sauce. It's the sauce. You know this word, lanyap?
no, Lanyap.
Lanyap. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's this Creole word they use a lot in New Orleans, right? So it's used a lot when in the cooking realm, right? There's just something else in this dude's gumbo that's not in this dude's gumbo.
Yes,
It's like
yes.
that little extra. Like, it tastes the same all the way up to this point where there's just a little like there's something else in there. So this is the same thing with regard to this is the lanyap, right? Where we can have 100 people do the same thing,
Yes.
but you have that little something extra that they don't have, and everybody's situation may look or taste the same, but then they get to yours and it's like, but there's something else in here, right? And that's what I think all of us as individuals have.
Correct.
Is that little bit of lanyap where we just have that extra little bit of something that no one else has, even though we're working from the same ingredients.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always tell people, you buy a steak, I buy a steak. Somehow, if we cut the steak in half and cooked it, you cook it, I cook it, it's going to taste
It's
differently.
gonna taste different.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's different philosophies. There's different patience. Some people don't have any patience. They want to cook that thing as fast as possible. Some people got all the patience in the world. They might slow cook it. Some people don't like salt. Some people do like salt. So it's going to come out differently. And both ways are right.
But when it rises or it elevates itself to a point where a number of people find that one is more right than the other, or more, it's not so much right, but more accepted than the other, then the other people are going to try to figure out what the ingredient is.
Right.
And if you as an artist, as a creator, are continually to create, continuously producing, and continuously growing, not remaining static as we have been with our camera,
Right.
then you will always lead the trend. And the thing about trends, and I point that out because we always want to jump on board those trends. The thing about trends that I always want to find out is who is the leader. Because when we find that trend, that person's already gone.
Yeah.
They've already moved on.
Yeah. It's like, I call that MTV culture.
Yeah.
By the time MTV shows it on TV, it's already gone.
It's already gone.
It's old.
So
So move on.
that's why I say I would be honored if you copied me.
Yeah, me too, I think.
I think so too.
But copy me at what? I don't know.
Well, here's what I do want you to do. I want you to copy this show and send it out to your friends and let them know that we are okay with copying.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up.
We should wrap up.
Yeah.
Did we ever get the 5-minute notice from Alex?
We
We
did.
did.
Yeah,
I must
we
have been.
did.
I must have been looking down at this 5-minute
See,
notice.
and
over
I was
here.
adding a little bit of extra ingredients in this sauce while you were looking down.
Right, you were doing a little bit more attention paying than I was. But yes, so that is the that's this week's episode.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why my brain's not connecting right now.
And I'm not quite sure which episode we're at.
We're in episode 67. So
67,
thank you
okay,
for
great.
watching this week's episode of Raising Unmanageables, episode 67. I'm Bevo,
And I'm Robert Rostick.
and I'm going to ask Alex to cut that one part out where it looks like I'm just stuttering over my words. Thank you very much. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Check
And
us out
we
next week.
Want to make sure that you spend a little bit of time in this week being slightly unmanageable.